Hey, welcome to part 2 of speeding up your single plane swing and learning and changing from a conventional swing to the single plane swing with Brock Elmore, who probably did it as fast as I've ever seen anybody. So don't miss out today's content. We're going to talk about the lower body.
So there's no better feeling knowing that when you wake up in the morning to go play golf, so that you're going to play well. There's no better feeling of hitting good golf shots down the fairway. So my mission today is to help as many people as possible wake up every day feeling good that they're going to go out there and play great because of the single plane swing.
So I'm here today with Brock Elmore. This is actually part 2. In part 1, we discussed some of the changes you made to change from a conventional swing. We actually analyzed your swing in the last video as well. But one of the things that I get asked from a lot of you out there is, how long is it going to take to learn this? And how do I speed up the process? And Brock here is the director of our Gold coaching program, which is where you can send videos in online to our coaches, and Brock is in charge of making sure those coaches send you the correct lessons back to learn the single plane swing. So we're all about speeding up this process.
Oh, no doubt.
And we think that's one of the most important things you can do is get coaching from us. But Brock was you learned this swing very quickly. You went from a very conventional swing to a single plane swing in a very short period of time. So it's nice to have you on here to help us. I'm a little far removed from this. I've been doing this so long that it's nice to have a young guy who's kind of gone through the process to be able to explain to us what it takes.
Yeah.
Today I want you to tell me about the lower body, because in the first video we talked about how you had to fix your address. So talk about lower body today and teach me about the lower body movement and what you had to go through.
Yeah, so one of the big things was after I got my address pretty good and stuff like that, I was playing in the club pretty well. I mean, you saw that in kind of my conventional swing as well, but I was playing in the club pretty well, getting to position 2. But when I was going to position 1, one of my big problems was I wouldn't rotate my hips because I had a problem with going laterally. And when I would go laterally, that just kills all kinds of rotation.
Show me that again. Demonstrate that, because that's lateral shift, right?
Yeah, so I would when I would move to position 1, I had a problem with coming here and kind of trying to brace into that leg. I took that the wrong way at first, where I would move laterally into it, and then I wouldn't rotate my hips at all, which causes a lot of problems. And then is
what kind of problems did it cause you?
So the biggest one is it would make me come over the top pretty bad, because I wouldn't have any rotation on the way back. So then when I would try to speed my hips into the impact position, it was actually pulling me over the top, and making me hit some pretty bad shots that way.
Right. So let me explain lateral shift. So go set up there again. Yeah. So lateral shift is when the actual sacrum, which is right here in your pelvis, shifts laterally away from the target. Now the problem with lateral shift is that it reverses the spine's tilt. So the upper part of the spine goes this way and the lower part goes this way. So when you try to rotate, the club goes up and goes over versus around, right? So it's creating a more vertical element to the motion. So how did you fix it?
A lot of single plane trainer drill was the first thing that I kind of worked through.
I got that, actually. Let's do that while you're here. Because to me, this is my favorite training aid. This is our single plane trainer. I've done some videos on this before. This is just a training aid that gets you lead-sided, basically. Yeah. So show me how you fixed it with this.
So I got set up in it, and it was really, so my problem before is I would laterally shift when I would go to position 2, and you can see that single plane trainer would roll across my stomach.
It'd move.
And I wouldn't keep that relationship, right? So it was really about feeling that, staying connected on that lead side, and really feeling all together to that position 1.
Right, so you maintain the spacing.
Yeah, maintain that spacing. Yeah, so I really did this for, it was about a month that this was all that I worked on, was just going to here and making sure I didn't move this laterally. And
so when Brock, when you make that motion, grab that trainer. So when Brock makes this motion, I can literally just turn him, and it's a perfect movement, and it keeps that single plane trainer, and that's the path this thing should move on. It's the path the club should move to the inside, because it keeps that relationship, and then you can go to the top. When he laterally shifted, it moved it to the outside. That club's outside already, and he's too underneath it like this. So steep, right? Too steep. Yeah.
So it was a lot of just working through that drill and really making sure I got that all together movement and feeling.
Yeah. So when you watch Mo Norman, right, and you see Mo move to position 1 like you're doing there, do that real quickly. I want to kind of explain, because we'll probably put some Mo video on here. When Mo goes from address and he turns to this position right here, which is position 1, all right? Believe it or not, which is hard for people to believe, that he's got 50 degrees of torso rotation here. He's got about 20 to 22 degrees of pelvis rotation right here,
Yeah.
And then when you get to the top of the swing, you have ideally 80 to 85 degrees of torso rotation and about 40 degrees of pelvis rotation. So let's think about this for a second. So if I move you to position 1, right there, that's perfect. You have 50 degrees, and to the top you have 80. So a majority of the rotation of your torso and half of the rotation of your pelvis occurs in that little simple motion from here to here. So how important is that?
It's everything.
It is. It gets you started, right?
Yeah.
It puts you in position, because you can't get to position 2 without position 1.
Yeah, and that's what I was seeing as I was planing the club okay, but then I would come way over the top of it because of that steep
That
angle I
tilt,
would get at.
yeah.
You know, and it was
Yeah.
all caused by that lack of rotation to position 1.
So position 1.
Yeah.
Show me how you, then from there, position 2 is easy for you, because
Yeah.
you planed it pretty well already.
Yeah, so once I got position 1 down, I got this feeling and I could do it consistently and continually do it. From there, it was just leverage my hands and get to the top.
Do that with the club and show me what that feels like to your trail leg, because instead of shifting on that leg, you're now rotating. Talk about that.
Right, so the biggest change there is when I was going laterally, I would feel a lot of stuff in the back, my backside, kind of back here, and in the outside of my quad over here. And once I got that feeling of coming together and bracing into that leg correctly, now everything's moved
You
to
feel
the
it right
inside.
in here now,
Yeah.
right? Huge.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a big deal.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
And once I felt that, that was everything.
Well, and so let's talk about the downswing in the lower
Mhm.
body. Just isolate lower body. What's
Yeah.
happening now?
Yeah, so once I get from position 2, then for me, I feel squatty, kind of. And that's just kind of the way that I've always explained it, and that's the way I've felt it. And this was a big problem for me, was when I went to this into my lead knee, I had a problem with going laterally this way as well. I would get too far on the outside, which then would stop my rotation, which was actually causing some pain in my back again. So that's for quite a while, it was about a month there as well. I was really struggling with getting into that lead knee correctly. And the feeling for me that I got was when I get to the top, I feel like I almost squat down. And when I do that, it automatically goes to that perfect
Gotcha.
position.
Whereas before,
And
what was it before? Show me before.
So before, I would come here, and then as I would come through, I'd actually let this knee go
okay.
around my body.
Gotcha.
And I would go way too far
Yeah,
laterally.
because you can go too far,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, so it was.
So let me kind of explain that. So go to the top of your swing again real fast.
Yep.
And so what Brock is describing here is when he works on the inside of the foot, inside of the leg, inside of his leg here from rotation,
Yep.
he is now able to push, and that
Yeah.
push sits him down. Whereas if you're too lateral here, it's just nothing more than a slide, and people get really caught up in sliding too
Yeah.
much. And then if you slide, you tend to rotate too much.
Yeah.
So what you're doing there is just really working on the inside of this leg in the backswing,
Yeah.
and then bracing against that knee in the downswing.
Yeah, and bracing into that and getting into that nice attack position here.
Yeah, which you do really well,
Yeah.
by the way. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, hit one so we can see the driver. That's killed right there.
Yeah, I've hit that one pretty good.
That's killed. All right, one more. How far do you hit that driver?
Probably 295, 300 maybe.
Yeah, that's probably 290 in the air right there, that one.
Yeah.
A little downwind.
Yeah.
All right, so talk me through, now that you fixed the lower body, how did it help the swing plan on the downswing? Because you were coming over it.
Yeah, so as soon as I was able to get that feeling of getting into that knee correctly, it gave me that nice vertical drop and got my shoulders back to where that rear shoulder, trail shoulder, drops down, and it gets me right on plane.
So
where I
Brock,
can
one
come
of
from more on the inside.
One of the things, right, because you talk about shallowing the club, and one of the
Yeah.
things that you hear a lot is all this concept of shallowing the club, right?
Right.
So go back to your top of the backswing for a second, and just hold that position for a second. And what people have to realize that shallowing the club starts with lower body, because when you move that, what you just talked about, do you see how it tilts the upper body? And now when you rotate from a tilted position, it shallows that club. So where did that start?
In the lower body.
In the lower body,
Yeah.
right. It starts in the lower body, and people
Yeah.
are trying to shallow the club from an upper body position, but they're out of position with the lower body.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest things that we see in schools. Everybody's trying to, they're trying to manipulate the arms and the hands to get swing position, when really it's all lower body that they need to work on.
Right.
Because if they can get into that position and get into that lead knee correctly, it shallows you out perfect.
Right, because the pelvis has moved forward, you got more
Yeah.
tilt, now you can come from the inside.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anybody coming over the top needs to work with lower body.
Oh, no
Right.
doubt, no doubt.
One of the things that I'm gonna ask this question, and this is, you don't know I'm gonna ask you this,
Okay.
but what frustrates you the most about coaching a student? Or maybe frustration isn't the right word, but what do you see that if people would just do this, they'd get so much better, so much faster? What would you recommend?
I mean, honestly, just video. Taking video of their swing, because I hear all the time, because everybody sends questions in to me from the Gold program and stuff, and I'll tell people, hey, we'd love to see a video of your swing when they ask a question, because it's kind of hard to diagnose them perfectly without seeing them. And then they'll make the comment of, well, I don't think video is really going to help. And then, I've had people tell me that, and then 2 months later, they've gone down 10 strokes in their handicap and shooting way better scores, So it's very frustrating for me when somebody asks me a question and they don't want to send a video to me so I can analyze and actually give them the best answer.
It's all about, as coaches, us being able to help them. And ball flat results don't tell us that much, because you come over the top, you can hook it, slice it, top it, hit it fat from one swing issue.
Yeah.
But what helps us is seeing the movement. We got to see the motion. We got to see the cause, an effect of it.
Right.
What's causing the effect, right?
Right.
And then once we get to the cause, it's easy to fix.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I mean, for me, and you did it, is I worked heavily on working on my movement, all the positions you talked about, and then I got better from just studying the movement and getting better at it. And that's what sped up the process for me, was getting feedback on it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I always tell people that we love to help people, but we don't love to guess at people, and it's tough to do when we can't see a video.
We got to guess.
Yeah.
So Brock, one of the things that I did, so anybody who's kind of seen around our company knows my story, but what I figured out is I took Mo's swing and I analyzed Mo's swing and I compared it to my swing, and I just matched the model, and that's what got me better. So it's about matching that model. And it's a model of swing plane, it's a model of a simpler golf swing, it's all that stuff. But you have to use video to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally would watch Mo swing a golf club, I'd draw lines on him. And it's, when you're drawing lines on a video, like we've all learned to do, our coaches, is that we're studying the three-dimensional movement of a golf swing with a video, right? So that's kind of the expertise that we have to be able to analyze a swing. Anyway, that's what I did, and that's how I got better, that's how you got better, that's how everybody we see get better, is getting some feedback on their motion.
Yeah, and it's really crucial to get that comparison, and get the feedback from it and know what to work on. That's the biggest thing, is everybody can see effects, and that's the biggest thing. So everybody sees effects, but not everybody knows the causes, and that's what we're here for.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So we customize programs. So by the way, I'm going to put a link in the channel below, where if you're interested in our coaching program, this is where we help you directly. Our coaches work directly with you, Brock and the guys. You send your videos in, and you got to send the videos in, and then we take those videos and we find the most important thing to work on, and we get it back to you. And we have customized programs that are just designed for you as well.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So if you can request a 90-day plan, I'll ask you some questions, and I'm going to customize a 90-day practice plan for you so that you can have something to do every day. We give them to you 30 days at a time, kind of keep you accountable for it, ask you to take some stats of you around, and then we'll analyze those and give you some more things to work on. So it's really about getting drills and getting you better into the different parts of your game.
Customizing the plan and getting better. That's what we do. Thanks for joining us. There's a link below. Don't forget to click it. Give me a thumbs up, and we're going to get Brock back out here and talk about some of the downswing stuff in the next video.